Wait, you have a TV?
No. I just like to read the TV guide. Read the TV guide. You don't need a TV.
Television addict! Television addict! Television addict!
Hey everyone, Ken Reed here, your TV guidance counselor, on the show of the same name, TV Guidance Counselor, the show where every week, in fact every Wednesday, someone picks a classic edition of TV Guide magazine from my collection, they write down what they'd watched that week, we sit down and we discuss their choices, and that is exactly what we do this week with my guest comedian Langston Kerman. Langston is someone who I've known for, I guess, I don't know, 8 or 9 years now. I like how I really think about it. Like, if I get it wrong, someone's going to be highly offended or even know that it's wrong. But, you know, I feel obligated to be factually accurate here. But Langston is originally from Chicago, where I think he started doing stand-up, but moved here to Boston for school, which is where I met him. Side note, he is one of only 2 other people who've guest hosted my secret menu show that I used to do at the Comedy Studio in Harvard Square, which I did for about 3 or 4 years every Thursday night. It was a very weird show. Him and Al Park from episode 2 of this show didn't co-host together. They hosted separate editions when I was out of town, but they are the only people who ever went through the official Ken Reed secret menu hosting training process and hosted editions of the show. There is some footage up of them online. I think Langston does I want to say Tawanda Gona's yearbook, I think. That sounds about right. But I'll put a link up to there if for some reason you want to see that. He's very funny. He's gone on to do very, very well for himself. Wrote for the Oscars. Was written for a bunch of shows. Very funny guy. And I could not be prouder of him, even though I had absolutely nothing to do with it. So Langston was coming through Boston recently, so I grabbed some of his time to sit down and chat about old television, and that is precisely what we did. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy today's episode of TV Guidance Counselor with my guest, Langston Kerman.
TV is my friend, and it has been always there for me in time of need.
Langston Kerman, how are you?
Yeah.
Welcome back to the house.
Thank you. Yes.
It's been like 4 years since you've been here.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Not a lot has changed.
Not a lot has changed. We got a new doorman.
Yes, the dogs are new, but the
Yep.
everything, the aesthetic is exactly as it was. It's great.
Yeah, there's just kind of more of it at this point. Yeah.
Although I'm not sure I would have noticed if there was more from the last time I was here.
No, probably not. Probably not. Yeah, it's a little overwhelming.
It's great. I love it.
We'll go away for a couple weeks, and when I come home, I have what I imagine other people feel when they walk in here. Like, oh, Jesus.
I think I told you this the first time I came over, that this is exactly what I thought your brain looked like on the inside.
Yeah, that is probably 100% accurate.
Yeah. It's just Gumby and magazines and RC Cola for some reason. It's great.
Yep. RC Cola is the best of the big brand name colas.
Sure.
Are you a Coke guy? What's your cola of choice?
I think I'm a Coke guy. I think I'm a classic.
You know, if you don't think you know.
You know, I stopped drinking soda
completely
like 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago. So I only have memories of like the things that I used to love, but like vanilla Coke, I still miss that a lot.
Coke is nice.
I still miss Dr. Pepper a lot too.
I love it. Did you ever have a Dublin Dr. Pepper?
A doubling Dr. Pepper?
Dublin.
No, never.
In Dublin, Texas.
Yeah.
Which is where Dr. Pepper was invented.
Sure.
They used to have a plant there, the Dublin Dr. Pepper plant, and they still made it. Original formula, cane sugar, none of the nonsense garbage in it, and it tasted like it originally tasted, and it is unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really good.
That's pretty great.
I've cut down on soda. I've replaced soda with seltzer.
Okay. That's a good move.
A lot of seltzer. But I will have a soda. I basically treat sodas now like candy bars. Like if I wouldn't eat a bite of candy bar between bites of pizza.
Yeah.
Like I'll have one on its own as a treat, maybe once a week.
Yeah. That's not bad though.
Yeah.
That's like, I think the way you're supposed to do it.
I would think so. Yeah.
I just reached a point where I was like not feeling good anymore physically. Right. And it's like, all right, well, I'm not gonna eat better, probably.
Right.
Like, I'm on the road too much. I'm like doing too many things that like don't accommodate for having a salad whenever I want.
Right.
So I will minimize the amount of like terrible things I intake that don't have to be, a part of my diet.
Are you still drinking?
Yes.
Okay.
But I now only drink vodka. And that's it. Because it's the least caloric of the alcohol.
But still calories.
Yeah, still calories, but
Yep.
it's like literally my at least liquids are only water and vodka.
Only vodka. And how do you have
Yeah.
it neat?
Yeah, no, on the rocks.
On the rocks.
But yeah,
Do you have a brand of choice?
I'm gonna die real weird.
Yeah.
No, I can do well. I don't care.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow,
I
you-
drink like the bottom of the
Jesus,
barrel
Langston's
type
doing
shit.
a lot better than I am.
From your long history of alcohol consumption.
Give me a Grey Goose. I'm doing good. Top shelf, ladies and gentlemen. Top shelf.
You're the best.
Yeah, my version of well is like, I'll take a cane sugar Pepsi. I'm also a Pepsi guy because Coke is so southern, and fuck them.
Okay.
It's an Atlanta
So it's
company.
more of like a moral, like
A little bit, but also just Pepsi's better.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, RC is very southern as well.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that RC Cola and Moon Pies?
Oh, is that like a combination?
The
that
combination
people
down
believe
there.
in?
Yeah, there's like all kinds of ads for it, and people are like, man, I just had my RC Cola, my Moon Pie, that's my lunch.
Wow.
I'm like, that's why you all have diabetes.
I have like a very bad association with moon pies because I was my mother's second husband's favorite.
Oh, I thought you were gonna
like
say
snack.
his name.
No, I hate him. But no, he's just like a shitty dude who like loved moon pies, and I would like.
Oh.
He wasn't a shitty dude or he was always a shitty dude, but I don't think I always understood him to be a shitty dude.
Right, right.
So there was a time where we had like in my mind a pretty good relationship. And I remember like, going to the store and like getting moon pies for him. And now I like see him in the store. I'm like, fuck you, man.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
You should go to the fuck you and your Moon Pies, you son of a bitch.
Who the fuck orders moon pies, you
Yeah,
weirdo?
yeah. Moon pies do sound like a weird, like drug that kids in high school would make.
Yeah.
Nah, dude, you take Robitussin,
Yeah.
and you got to do it at night, and you mix it.
You gotta sandwich it between two Tylenols and
Oh, dude, you're flying high on those moon pies. Did you have a lot of kids in high school who had those sort of weird? I mean, the two big things were like made up things to get high off of,
Yeah.
and then like things to put their dicks in.
I think those are white things.
Are
to
they?
be honest with you, I think black. And granted, I went to a pretty racially diverse high school, but
Yeah.
it's sort of like you hang out with people that tend to look like you. It's just sort of the.
I mean, it wouldn't
natural way.
surprise me if they're white things.
Yeah, no,
they're
I
terrible people.
I think I just think that's like a thing that white middle class or like lower middle class white kids tend to get themselves into more than black kids. Like
Well,
our trouble is different than y'all trouble. If that makes sense.
You're busy trying to just do things, like be good at stuff.
You know,
Like you're busy worried about other stuff than like
not
can I
kids
invent-
though.
No.
Adults, yes. That's more
what
our
would
focus.
like black kids' troubles be that they would get into trouble doing?
we
instead
like
of-
break into shit.
Oh, okay. So like criminal acts.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a different kind of crime, right? Like,
Well, I don't think warming Pillsbury crescent rolls in the microwave to put your dick in is a crime. It's just
it should be.
It should be.
And if I'm elected president,
Yeah.
I
Great.
assure you.
I want to mention it's not a thing that I've ever done, but kids at school would come in on Monday
Yeah.
and be like, "Dude, I found a new one." And I
Right.
was like, "Yeah."
I remember there was a kid at my school who this was the thing, like during Halloween kids would fill bleach like squirt guns up with bleach. And
Okay.
then they would like ride around and do like drive-bys with like squirt guns of bleach on people, or like they would get like BB guns
To
and,
ruin their
like-
clothes or to injure them by squirting bleach in their face.
I mean, I think the intention was the clothes, but I think the risk was not a factor necessarily.
yeah.
And that's more of like rambunctious black teenagers
Okay.
than like sticking our dicks and shit.
So
if that
like
makes
more
sense.
destructive things.
Yeah, I think so. I think
Yeah.
more outwardly destructive and less inwardly like, let's see what these chemicals do inside of us. You know what I mean?
Less
Like, it's not
social
the-
experimentation.
Yeah, exactly.
Less personal
Personal
social
and more
experimentation.
social
And more
experimentation.
what happens when I burn this fucker down.
Yeah. I think that tends to be it, and I could be wrong. I don't want to box us in. We can be whoever we
Yeah,
want to
this
be.
was
now.
Chicago, where we know we got to send the feds in because it's so terrible.
It's pretty bad.
What was your? Did you have a crime of choice?
Oh no, I didn't do anything. my mom was I remember egging was a big thing in my neighborhood.
Yep.
Where kids would go out and like egg each other and like egg each other's cars and shit.
Yeah.
And my mom was very explicit from a young age that if I ever came home, whether I participated or was the victim with any egg on me, she was going to beat me senseless.
Because she was vegan.
Well, yeah, big fan of eggs, and no one wastes eggs in our home.
You're like, just chicken eggs?
She just like was like, nah, if you have egg on you, you were a part of it, so I'm gonna beat your ass.
You were hanging around in the wrong place.
Exactly. You were doing what you weren't supposed to be doing, so I'm gonna whoop your ass.
Did you manage to avoid eggs for
I
your
did.
entirety?
I remember my best friend at the time, a kid named Josh, who we were on the basketball team together, and we would always walk home, and it was Halloween. We had practice that day, so we're walking home together, and this kid in a like a Freddy mask rolled up.
Or he could have just been an ugly kid.
Just an ugly kid. Boy, was he a uggo. But he rolled up on his bike, and he was like kind of fucking with us, whatever. And me and like the other dude, it was me, Josh, and Corey, and we're like kind of like backing off. We can tell like something's going on, but Josh like started talking shit back to him, and then the dude just smashed an egg on his head. And then we realized afterwards it was this kid Buck in the neighborhood, but Josh just had to walk home with like egg all over his body, and there was nothing any of us. I mean, granted, now I know I could have like helped him or something, but we were just like,
you didn't want to get any on you.
I was like, nah, I can't get egg on me, Playboy. You know what happens if I go home. It wasn't because
Buck was like a badass you didn't want to fuck with.
Nah, Buck was like, I actually ended up getting in a fight with Buck like maybe a year later, and then suspended from school because of that fight.
Nice.
But like,
what was that about?
We would play fight in the hallways, and it was like an ongoing thing with a lot of the guys where like we would see each other and somebody would like smack you in the back of your head, and then that, you know, you would pass it on kind of thing. And one day he just took it too far. Like I was like walking down the hall, and he like literally like ran up behind me and body slammed me.
Oh, that's too much.
And it was 8th grade. I'm in front of like every girl that I've ever had a boner for.
Yeah,
it's like everything that could have embarrassed me in that moment. And it was like, nah, I'm not standing for this shit. So I like got up, and we ended up like swinging on each other, and I like choked him up against the locker, and then teachers had to pull us apart, and that was enough for them to say like, nah, you guys have to suffer in school suspension.
Oh, you got in school
Yeah, it's the worst.
Day?
I've never had out of school suspension. I've only gotten in school suspension.
I had out of school suspension once in 3rd grade.
Wow.
Because this kid who was a real dickhead was being an asshole, and he was coming to sit down in his chair, and I pulled it out from under him, and he broke his tailbone.
Oh shit.
And then when
he broke it,
and when he was on the ground, you know those hard eraser toppers that like kids I took one of those off, and I threw it at him. I hit him in the eye, and he started bleeding,
just like insult to injury.
yeah
Jesus.
So I had a out of school suspension that day.
How many days?
Just one.
They only gave you one?
Yeah, and it was a Friday, so it was kind of great. I went to the movies.
Jesus.
Yeah. How many times have you been suspended?
Every school I've ever been to.
Really?
Yeah.
And then you became a teacher.
Yeah. Well, I mean, those records aren't real. Kids,
there's no permanent
for
record.
those kids that are big fans of the podcast, there's no records.
Yeah.
It's just bullshit. No, I got suspended in 5th or 6th grade because 4th grade. That's what it was. I got suspended in 4th grade because there was this girl who no one liked, and we, a group of us, figured a way to pick on her by like hiding her purse for the day.
Okay.
And we like, you know, stole it and then hid it in some kid's locker, and then pretended like we knew nothing about it. And then it, you know, her parents called and turned it into a much bigger thing than it was. And in retrospect, we deserved.
Well, I mean, her insulin was in there.
Yeah. She did go into a diabetic stroke, and that was unfortunate.
Yeah.
But no, it just turned into like this big thing. But it was a good lesson for me, where it's like, all right, you're teetering on the side of bullying. Just because you don't like this chick, doesn't mean that you need to be like the provocateur in every situation.
And it's generally for really no good reason.
No,
just kids being like,
she was a nice girl.
Yeah.
I just didn't like her.
Yeah.
Or, you know, there was a collection of us that had decided she wasn't fun.
Well, you get weird impulses as a kid.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a boy thing more, where you're just like, hey, what would happen if I did this?
Right.
Like I remember this kid, we were in shop class, probably 7th or 8th grade, and this kid went to use the bathroom, and I was just looking at his science book, and it was in like, a brown paper bag book cover. And I popped it out of the book cover and put it in the vise and sawed it in half.
Yeah.
And then put it back in the book cover.
Right.
So he came back and picked it up and the bottom half of his book fell out. He never figured it out.
No.
I don't even know why I did that. I was just like, huh.
It's like, I think we're all like sort of bullies at one point in our life. And then you kind of understand morals or at least reasoning enough to know like, I want to saw that kid's book in half, but I'm not going to saw that kid's book in half.
Some of us come to that conclusion, and then some people just, you need to get punched in the face once or something, and then you go, I found the line. Right.
And I think getting suspended was my punch in the face, if you will. It was like, all right, chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
So that was elementary school. Then middle school was the fight, and then in high school, this is the one I'm least ashamed of, and probably should be most ashamed.
And this is when you went by the nickname Words.
I never went by that name.
Who told you this? It was written on your yearbook. Kids wrote some nickname on the yearbook on the side of your.
Fuck. Oh no, I wrote it. It was Language.
Language. And that's right.
Short for the Langston and the spoken word
Language.
Shit. Yeah,
Words is pretty close for remembering from like 3 years ago.
It has been a while. That's so funny that I was like, it was a fucking Words, but that actually makes perfect sense. No, so we used to play fight in the locker room during gym class.
Our gym teacher would have called that grab ass.
Yeah. We grabbed some ass.
Go play grab ass in there.
We like had like a silly fight club kind of thing where like once every day someone new was like the victim.
And you were naked in the showers.
No, we wore our clothes. I want that on record. We were fully clothed when we grabbed ass. But no, we would do dumb shit, and everybody, we were all involved. We would get beat up. We would beat up somebody, but no one was ever really hurt. But there was this freshman kid who always used to try to jump in, and we wouldn't really include him because he was like not our friend, and like we didn't want it to get weird kind of thing.
He was in a wheelchair.
Yeah, we don't like wheelchairs. Not a fan. If you can see me right now, I'm doing that weird Trump thing that he did when he was making fun of a disabled person. But it's we never really included him, and then there was one day where he like really kept trying to jump in, and so we decided, all right, today's your day, and we jumped him, and we he was a little guy, and we had a time, like we just were flipping him around.
Just beat the shit out of this
at
guy.
one point we threw him into a trash can, but like
classic move,
but we folded him.
Yeah.
So like literally his legs were touching his face kind of thing. And then my friend Fabian dumped all of his books out on top of him.
Classic Fabian
and
move.
Then, it's a classic Fabian move. And then he jumped to the top of the bleachers and then jumped off of them to like leg drop the trash can so that he like the kid flipped out of it and rolled off with like books flying all over him.
Yeah.
We just like made a fool of him, and he wasn't hurt, but it was just like we did it in front of all his peers.
But probably terrified.
Yeah, he was a little scared. It was a bunch of black kids. He was a tiny white kid, and so he went to like administration and told.
Yeah.
And so in telling, a bunch of us got called to the office, and various forms of punishments were handed out. And I was one of the few that really got caught because I wasn't willing to like go off and tell all of my other friends.
You wouldn't turn coat.
Nah, I didn't turn on anybody. I should have. Because they literally, I'm in school suspension, and it was a glass window, and they would come by and like dance in the window like, I got free and you got caught. Like, fuck you, man. I took an L for you, and
for
you
nothing.
making fun of me.
For nothing.
For having fun.
Yeah.
The same fun we all had.
That reminds me of two things. One, my uncle, who is no longer with us, the one who I think I told you just before, ran away from home and joined the circus when he was a kid.
Yeah.
He was special forces in the army.
Yeah.
And not a guy you'd want to fuck with.
Right.
And
he's got circus training. Yep. He's got army training.
Yeah. Oh, I saw him beat people up more, like just the most violent. I saw him punch a guy so hard once I thought this guy's head was going to come off.
Yeah. And then he squirted seltzer water in his face.
In his pants. And he's like, just kidding. But when he was in training, I think some guy was playing music he didn't like, so he locked the guy in a footlocker and threw him out a window.
Fuck. Jesus.
Yeah.
That guy get hurt? He had to have been hurt.
Oh, yeah. He was hurt. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was just like, I don't like this music. And then also reminds me of a friend of mine. There was a Green Day concert at the Hat Show in Boston in '94, and it was a free concert.
Yeah.
And it's infamous in Boston history because there was a riot with 100,000 people.
They didn't like Green Day?
No, the city shut the show down because it was getting too rowdy, which was the wrong move.
Right.
And 100,000 kids went nuts.
Let these kids have their Green Day.
Yeah, and a friend of mine freaked out and he hid in a porta potty, which you never want to do.
Right.
Because people tip the porta potty door side down.
Fuck.
So he was trapped in there, covered in porta potty for hours.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Just blue sewage.
And shit. Yeah.
Jesus.
And toilet paper. And yeah, so that's one of the worst instances I can think of someone like being thrown into a small space. And
no, this was like a trash can filled with paper. This wasn't.
This was not a porta potty.
No, there was no poop involved in what we did to that kid, but he snitched anyway, and I had like a 2-day suspension because of it.
But you still did well in school and went to a good college.
And went to a good school. These records are not real, kids. Don't listen to what these.
Masters? Did you get
I have a master's degree in poetry.
Poetry.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite poet?
Actively right now,
there are active poets right now.
There are active poets.
I thought it stopped in the 40s.
They're idiots. Man. Terrence Hayes is a really great writer. Who I love a lot. He used to be a professor at Carnegie Mellon. He might still be there. And Sharon Olds, who is a professor at NYU. Okay. And she's really great.
You know, James, he died like 2 years ago. He won the Pulitzer Prize. Old guy, white guy, James. Shit, I can't remember his name.
Is it Irish last name?
It might be. But I love his poems. I can't remember his name, but I got to do a show with him. Okay. And his poems are really twisted and funny and weird.
Yeah.
Like he wrote this one he wrote was they were very like conversational. Mm-hmm. So it was like I was in the park and a woman came by with a baby in a carriage and a hawk came down and stole the baby. And I said, "Hey, that hawk has your baby." And she said, "It's okay. I know him." It was like this weird, like weird stuff like that. Yeah, it was very, very funny. But he's got like 3 or 4 books, and I wish I forgot his name, and I always feel bad because
poetry school. It's not as lame as everybody wants it to be.
Have you stopped attempting to write poetry?
I was, first of all, I was not attempting. I was doing it.
Right.
Poorly. I was doing
succeeding at poetry.
I still write from time to time, but it's your brain can only do so many things. And between stand up and other kinds of funny writing, poetry has taken a bit of a backseat.
And it's you have also, that show in New York where you just jump people.
Yeah, of course. It's also like not gonna pay my bills, so
not like stand up.
Hey, I'm doing okay.
I know, but you're one of the few.
I don't want to curse myself. It's actually been pretty cool.
Yeah, you're doing very well.
Thanks.
I kudos to you. You picked an issue here from January 6th through the 12th, 1996.
Hell yeah.
It is the best and worst of 1995, the year in Cheers and Jeers. And before we get into the stuff that aired that week, shall we go for did you want to hear any of the bests or are we just going worsts?
Let's do it all. Let's see where we go.
Here we go. The year in Cheers and Jeers, best and worst. Let's see. First of all, it is weird here. There's a thing about Michael Jackson coming back with an HBO special.
He deserved it.
The headline is Jacko will be backo.
All right. See, I don't like that.
I hated just him being referred to as Jacko.
Yeah, Jacko. Why?
It was too much like Jack Off, and it was a really bad.
Yeah, it was them trying to like make him a criminal, which maybe he was, but I don't know. But then also like he's given us so much. Stop it.
Yeah, not my favorite Jackson. But
wow.
Yeah, Janet's my favorite.
I thought you were gonna say Jesse, but that's
no. I hate his albums. You ever heard him? When I was taking speech and rhetoric in college, I wrote it was like an analysis of the Rainbow Coalition speech. And I had to listen to that thing 200 times.
Jesus.
It's an amazing piece of public speaking, but
I mean, it's carried him through as a politician for longer than it should have.
But not something I'd want to dance to.
No,
not like Control. And actually, Tito Jackson's a pretty damn good bass player.
I'll be honest. I only know Tito through the Jackson 5. I've
Yeah.
never explored any of the independent Tito work.
Then there's the least known Jackson, Reby.
Reby,
Who
sure.
did Centipede, which is a great song.
Oh, I didn't know Reby made music.
Oh yeah, she did like 3 or 4 albums.
Yeah.
Yeah, much better than LaToya's album.
I was about to say Latoya's a bad lady though.
Yeah.
She's like the worst of them probably in terms of
Yeah,
the
well,
want
Joe
to-
was probably the worst.
Yeah, well, not a nice guy.
No. But Janet never done anything wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can't fight that.
Nope, she's the best. So the year's top 10 performers.
Yes.
For 1995. Number 1, Jerry Seinfeld.
Okay, I won't
I
fight
go with that.
Yeah.
Number 2, Oprah.
Sure.
Chicago's, would you say she's Chicago's most famous export?
Michael Jordan.
Is Jordan from Chicago? See, I didn't even know that.
Well, he's
I
not.
know he was on the
he's not
Bulls.
from Chicago. He's from Carolina, and was born in New York. But as far as like,
You can't claim Michael Jordan.
no, well, I'm just saying as a product.
Yeah.
The Michael Jordan that everybody knows and loves is a product of Chicago.
Well, then we might as well go with hot dogs. If that's
Okay,
your
well,
criteria.
sure. Listen, between Oprah, Michael Jordan, and deep dish pizza, I'm
Yeah.
happy.
How
I
do
like
you know
what we
if
have.
Oprah's actually from Chicago?
She's not. She's
Yeah.
from like Mississippi, I believe.
Yeah, she was like a local news anchor, and then
Yeah,
started
she
doing
was
her
like
show.
a super poor girl and like literally worked her way up to the billions.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Good for Oprah. Now she owns most of Hawaii. Jimmy Smits.
All
Number
right,
3.
that's fine. Well, he's still around. That's cool.
He is. Number 4. This is an interesting one. It's a tie. Marsha Clark and Johnny Cochran.
Oh shit!
This was the OJ.
Yeah,
year.
this is right at then nobody can decide which one of them they like
Yeah.
more.
I mean, Marsha Clark was on the right side of history there. Johnny Cochran
Yeah.
was an evil bastard.
Yeah,
But man.
but he was good at his job.
He was good at his job, and that's Hitchcock has a famous saying that an audience will like any character that's good at their job.
Wow,
Even if their job is being a hired killer or the worst thing, if they're good at it, people will like that character.
That's funny.
Which is true. Number 5, the cast of Friends.
Okay, I never liked that show.
Never liked that show either, and they also work to get OJ off. A lot of people don't talk about that now, but
Yeah, it's weird that everybody forgot that
yeah,
classic
Courtney
OJ
Cox is
episode.
was in the courtroom almost every day.
Joey, we gotta get this
Yeah.
OJ
Yeah.
off.
And then we all remember Chandler's final speech to the jury. Did OJ do it? Oh, I think he didn't. Anthony Edwards, number 6,
I don't know
because
Anthony
ER
Edwards.
had just started.
Okay.
Anthony Edwards,
Yeah,
of course,
yeah.
from Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh
and
yeah, I
Sure
know
Thing.
Anthony Edwards. Sure.
Number 7, David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson.
X Files.
David Hyde Pierce. Number 9, Keith Olberman and Dan Patrick from ESPN.
Wow.
Keith Olberman's rocking a pretty great mustache there. You wouldn't even recognize it.
Wow, he's aged.
Yeah,
but
he
in a good
certainly
way.
has.
He looks better now.
He does look better now with kind of salt and pepper gray hair
yeah,
going.
yeah. And he's taken on a better position in the world.
He is. He started in Boston as a
I didn't know
Boston newscaster.
Is he from Boston?
No, I don't think so. But his first job in media was here. He was on Channel 7 the same time that Bill O'Reilly was on it.
Okay.
And everybody hated Bill O'Reilly. And number 10, this is a weird one, John Tesh.
John Tesh. Who's John Tesh?
John Tesh was the anchor on Entertainment Tonight. And he used to put out new age, like, elevator music. He's big, like Yanni.
Okay.
And there was a whole thing where people were sort of in the early days of the internet. There was this big thing that John Tesh is an alien.
Okay.
So there'd be all those evidence.
Because he made weird music and then tried to give us news afterwards.
Yeah. 10 shows that clicked. So they're not quite saying these are the 10 best shows for some weird reason, but that's what they're saying.
Right.
Number 1 is Sybil.
I don't even know
Sybil
that.
Shepherd show, Alicia Witt, really funny show. Number 2 is The Naked Truth with Tay Leone, which is fantastic, funny show. Only made it 2 seasons, loved it. Number 3, Murder One.
There's got to be something in you that doesn't want to remember all of these things.
Of course. Do you know what I could use this brain power for that might be useful to somebody? This is completely useless.
Yeah, no, it's not good.
Number 4, Frasier.
I'll be honest, I never spent much time with Frasier.
Did you watch Cheers?
I did watch Cheers.
Yeah. See, I was a big
Yeah.
Cheers guy, and I didn't like Frasier
Okay.
because I felt like the Frasier on Frasier and the Frasier on Cheers were two totally different.
Oh,
things.
they were, yeah, completely. Like Frasier on Cheers was much more of like a beta.
Yeah.
and the Frasier on Frasier is like an alpha male, like in charge and like sort of like navigating the world, and the Frasier on Cheers was like he was the butt of half the jokes.
Yeah, which was such a Boston thing. Like that's one of the things I love so much about Cheers is they captured all the cliches well in that I always bring this up that Boston 30% of the population is students.
Yeah.
And so there's that weird blue collar versus academia war that's sort of constantly going on.
And especially where we drink, it's like you're not going to be the cool guy here, you piece of shit.
Yeah, professor, go fuck yourself.
We're going to like you because you've read?
Yeah. No. I read a fucking book,
right?
Shithead. My So-Called Life.
I remember that.
Loved it.
Sure.
That show, I was 14 when it was on. She was 14. That suburban.
Say no more, Ken.
This was not a boner thing. Let me tell you what I put in the microwave, right? You take half a watermelon and a cantaloupe. But I love that show. That show captured me being 14 more than anything else I can imagine. Like if someone asked me what it felt like when I was 14, I'm like, watch My So-Called Life.
Okay.
That's pretty accurate.
That's dope.
And Seinfeld's number 6.
There it is.
Were you a huge Seinfeld guy?
I think as a kid I watched it.
Right.
I think as an adult, I think it's like a masterpiece.
See, I'm the opposite.
Oh wow.
I loved it growing up, and when I revisit it now, it's so dated. And
yeah, it doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
And I get what you mean. Like you watch it and it very clearly feels like the 1990s.
Yeah, which normally wouldn't bug me, but something about it seems. And you know what else bothers me on it? There's no likable characters.
Oh, see, I was arguing with somebody about this yesterday actually, because they were saying that they love It's Always Sunny.
Which has no likable characters.
And that was my argument, was like I can't like it because literally they're all detestable.
Yeah.
Whereas Seinfeld, I think they are all likable and make unlikable choices.
I think in comparison to something like, because Seinfeld was such a huge hit, that sort of model of let's make our main characters the worst people.
Yeah.
And not an anti-hero. They're not the Punisher. They're not doing the right thing through the wrong way. It was just like they're just like they're selfish bad people.
But there was something that, like, again, I would watch it, and there's something that I still want George to get the woman. Do you know what I mean? Like, I still want him to be able to have that girl, even though he's going to do something manipulative and conniving and selfish.
I think that points to how great the actors were.
Yes.
Because they're so likable. Jason Alexander is just likable.
He's just a good...
being the worst person on
And
there.
he's never played a good guy on TV.
No.
I think even in movies, he's like always kind of like a shithead, but you're like, all right, Jason, we'll give it time.
Yeah, and I think that was the unique thing about Seinfeld, where the actors were so likable that when they played unlikable, it was still kind of endearing.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. Like I appreciate the structure of it. There's still some funny things, but I just don't enjoy it when I rewatch.
I got you.
It doesn't have that
happens.
rewatch value.
I can't rewatch Family Matters for shit.
Well, I mean, Urkel was really a modern day Laurence Olivier. No, but Family Matters was a garbage show.
I a part of me wants to argue with you, and now I know that to be true, but at the time I couldn't have cared about a television show more.
I mean, the thing that bothers me, and bothered me at the time too, was I love blue collar shows.
Yeah.
Like that's what I identify with.
That's what it was?
Yeah, and it started as that.
Yeah.
And it was almost like the more realistic blue collar version of like the Cosby Show.
Sure.
It was like, guy's a cop, she was elevator operator or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is a good family blue collar show. And then once it got taken over by the Urkel show, and we have time machines and cloning devices.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? Like this is not.
Well, they invested. They were like, all right, this is our money.
Oh, it made them. I mean,
it made it what it was.
Yeah.
Like they weren't going to make it another season if they stayed focused on Carl.
You need Urkelbot.
Yeah.
And you know what? I still have
Harriet. You're gonna let Harriet lead this show?
She was pretty much in no episodes.
No, well, that's because they had that weird beefing where like she took huge in what you're complaining about. She took huge issue. I think it was her
show. It was built around her. It was a
where they were
spinoff
like,
from
I'm an
Perfect
adult, and you're gonna tell me that this scrawny kid who has a catchphrase is now gonna be the star. Right? It's like, no fucking way. And then they were like, nah, actually, you can get with this dancer you can go. And
Yeah.
she's like, okay, well,
We're
have
making
them
our
woo
money.
when I come down the stairs at least.
Yeah. But it was like, I still have all the lyrics of the Urkel dance in my head.
Really?
Yeah. If you want to do the Steve Urkel dance, all you got to do is hitch up your pants, laugh and sneeze and jump and cavort, and top it all off with a laugh and snort.
Jesus.
do the Urkel dance. And I don't like it, and I don't want that there.
If you are so lucky as to get Alzheimer's,
Please. I've been chewing on aluminum foil and yeah.
I just hope these aren't the things that stick. You know how like some stuff
Yeah.
sticks and some
Yeah.
stuff's leave. I hope you have all the memories of your family and dogs
Yeah.
and whatnot, and none of the Urkel dance.
I lose how going to the bathroom works and hang on to the Urkel dance. Number 7, TV Nation, which was a great show.
I know.
Michael Moore had a TV show.
Okay.
It was a pre-daily show. It was like a news magazine show.
Yeah.
Janine Garofalo was on it.
Hell yeah.
Duff. What's his name? Rusty Cundiff, who did Tales from the Hood and Fear of a Black
Oh,
Hat.
yeah.
Awesome director. That guy I love. He was a correspondent, and they would do like these kind of like fuck you news stories.
Yeah, Tales from the Hood is an underappreciated
It's a great movie.
Yeah,
the
it was
voodoo
fun.
doll ones and the
Yeah, it
and
was
where he
scary,
cuts the
where they
kids' legs
chase
off.
them.
Yeah,
It's
that's a
fucking
good
scary.
Movie. But Rusty Cundiff was. Have you ever seen Fear of a Black Hat?
No.
Oh, it's such a funny movie.
Okay.
It's basically like a hip hop Spinal Tap.
Okay.
And it came out the same year as CB4.
Yeah.
And it's way better than CB4.
Okay. I really like CB4.
CB4 is good.
Yeah.
But Fear of a Black Hat is really funny. I love that movie.
I got you.
Yeah, TV Nation is kind of been overlooked now, but it was way ahead of its time and
Mm-hmm.
kind of it invented a whole genre of TV that we still have on now.
Okay.
John Oliver is a direct descendant of TV Nation.
Dope.
Then The Late Show with David Letterman. This was
Hell
the
yeah.
first year after he moved to CBS. Friends is number 9, and then this one surprised me, number 10.
Okay.
This Old House.
This Old House.
Yep,
I've heard of that.
First season after Bob Vila left, and they're like, it's great. It's great.
Now that we got Bob Vila out of the way,
Yeah.
this is really taking on some legs.
I rode an airplane with him once.
Did you?
Yeah,
Was he nice?
I didn't talk to him, but
Okay.
it was where I was flying back from London, and the flight was me, Bob Vila, and the Mighty Mighty Bosstones.
Okay.
All on the same flight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I rode an airplane with Jason Alexander
Did you?
only like 4 or 5 months
Did
ago.
he steal your seat? And then
No.
you're like, hey.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
No, he was mostly watching movies.
Did you sit next to him?
No, I was very fortunate to be in first class. Thank you.
Ooh, how'd you,
And,
was someone flying you out?
Yeah, no,
Okay,
I'm not
yeah,
paying for that on my own.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were flying me out, and he just happened to be in like the seat across from me. So I watched him for a little while, and then got bored and watched real movies.
What do you smell like?
Exactly like you would imagine.
Old
Stress.
Old Spice and stress.
Nah, he seemed like a very sweet man.
Yeah. Have you ever totally geeked out on meeting somebody where you just like,
I mean, writing for the Oscars
Yeah.
was it was a very surreal experience of like, sitting in the room with Chris Rock and like literally being stressed out 7 hours a day because you just want to impress your hero.
because you love CB4?
Yeah, I love CB4 so much. And I really hope he introduces me to Charlie Murphy.
Yep.
But it was that felt weird. But his plus one, he had many plus ones, obviously, but
Yeah.
one of his plus ones was Chappelle
Right.
to the Oscars. And there was a point where we were like drunk at the governor's ball and like we're all hanging out on the dance floor. And Chappelle, I look around, I'm like dancing to like the band that's playing.
Because you've had some vodka.
Yeah, no, I had lots of vodka that night. No other
Top shelf.
types of drinks. But, Chappelle is on the dance floor. I turn around and he's like vibing and he like nods. And like I never would introduce myself. I don't have the heart for that shit. But
Yeah.
like it was a very cool experience.
It was all you needed. That was enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there were other cool ass people there. Like, that's the weird thing about those like balls afterwards. It's like you're walking through this room and it's celebrities celebrating.
Yeah.
So they're no longer worried about the possibility of like having to like protect themselves.
It's a work party.
Yeah, exactly. So like you walk through and you're like, "Excuse me, Bryan Cranston.
Yeah.
Pardon me, Leo.
Yeah.
Congratulations on your big win, fella." Like
Yeah.
it's very chill in that sense, but none of that blew me as much as like Chappelle standing right behind me kind of thing.
It's the kind of thing too that probably once you get home and it's like a day later, you're like, what the hell was I just at?
Right.
It kind of hits you after. You almost go into shock.
Well, it was a very eye-opening experience for me, just in that like how little you matter in this world.
Oh yeah.
Of like,
and you mean me specifically?
Yeah, you. They did not bring your name up.
No one knew
once.
who I was.
But it's just like, Louis C.K. came over and like we were sitting the writers were all sitting at a table and like Louis came over and complimented us and Sarah Silverman complimented us. But in the grand scheme of things, there's all these people whose entire night was shaped around this thing.
Yeah.
And so like either I'm going up to Bryan Cranston and saying, man, I love you so much, and annoying him because he just lost an Oscar.
Yeah.
Or I'm getting in the way because he just fucking won an Oscar.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't want to hear compliments. He just wants to celebrate. You know what I mean? Like it's just like get out of the way and let them have their fun. And like, I think I actually only stayed at the party for like 2 hours because it was like, okay, I got what
I was supposed to get out of it.
Yeah, I was here. I took some pictures, but this isn't for me.
Yeah.
This is for them.
Yeah.
And they deserve it. But
Yeah.
and someday maybe I'll deserve it too, but I don't need to be here anymore. Yeah, I won't.
You will.
I won't.
Was there a joke you got on that like a celebrity said that you couldn't believe?
No, because we were only writing for Chris.
Okay.
We weren't writing for the entire show.
Right.
But no, I didn't get a single thing.
Doesn't matter. You still got to go.
Tagging. I mean, I think we all got like tags in or like little stuff, but no, there wasn't a single like set up punchline that made it into any of it.
Yeah.
But there were 15 writers in a room, many of whom had written for him for years and like knew him very intimately.
Which is still just a cool experience.
Yeah, no, it's dumb. Yeah. It's real dumb that he brought me and like it's great.
You earned it, kid. You earned it.
Yeah, it was cool.
Here's 5 shows that clunked.
Okay. That's what I like.
I'm gonna go 5-1.
Sure.
On this one. Number 5, Can't Hurry Love at All.
Wait, that's the full title?
Yeah, well, it goes, it would be unfair to single out Can't Hurry Love as the year's worst new sitcom, for it's indistinguishable from other dull new shows. And then they list 10 shows.
Jesus.
Not to mention the dramas, and then they list another 10 shows. These shows made 1995 the most disappointing and nondescript year on TV in a decade.
Oh, that's
But
so
it's
mean.
over, so Happy New Year.
Fuck. TV Guide was mean.
Oh, TV Guide would get super bitchy.
Yeah.
Number 4, The Other Side.
I feel like I've heard of that show.
While polls wring their hands about daytime talk shows where trashy people act trashy, I say The Other Side was worse, for it tried to make us swallow UFOs and other such hooey. The good news is we're too smart for The Other Side, and The Other Side died. This was a talk show during the huge talk show boom in the 90s.
Right,
When everybody had a talk show.
did,
Tempest
like,
Bledsoe.
alien shit.
Yeah, it was like just the stuff about getting kidnapped.
That's kind of cool, though.
I used to enjoy it for that. But it was just crazy people.
Sure, but like, whatever. So is Jerry Springer.
Yeah, but they're at least fighting. Like, this was crazy people being like, alien has a radio in my brain.
Okay.
And it just got, like, boring.
I think there's got to be a premise within that where if you can get them as, like, more moderate alien believers, then it's like, no, literally, somebody that can reasonably communicate, like, nah, he didn't probe me or nothing, but he did like fly past my house.
Yeah, those people don't exist.
Yeah, I wish.
It's all or nothing. They're all in.
God damn it.
Yeah.
I just want them.
Someday we'll find them. Sequest 2032.
Nope,
which
that's
was
not
terrible.
good.
Central Park West, which was pretty bad. And number 1, show that clunked in 1995.
Yeah.
OJ.
Oh, he had his own. Oh, the trial.
The trial, they kind of.
I thought he had his own show.
OJ's talk show while he was on trial for murder.
I wanted to be a sitcom.
Yeah.
Where it's like OJ doing OJ stuff.
He took over the Magic Johnson show. Yeah, not good.
Yeah.
Every time I'm in downtown LA, we usually go to the Grand Central Market, and it's right across from this knife store called the Cuttery, which is where he bought the knife.
Wow.
And it freaks me out every time I go by
Yeah.
it because the idiot bought it with a credit card.
Yeah.
Thought he'd be cool because it was downtown, so no one would know.
Well, it wasn't a specific stabbing knife. He bought it with the intention of doing
Carving a turkey.
Yeah, and then he happened to use it for stabbing later.
I've mentioned this on the show a lot, but have you ever read If I Did It?
I have not.
Do you know about
Yeah,
it?
I know.
Oh,
It's the his book that was poorly titled.
I will get you a PDF of it because it is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
He is out of his mind.
Right.
It is just a 200-page confession.
Right.
In graphic detail.
He's he's a troubled dude.
Certainly is.
These documentaries were very interesting this past year. Well, the documentary and then also the show on FX. It was fucking great.
Yeah. Is there, if you could write a fictionalized television show about a real life thing, do you have something you would go for? Like a rip from the headlines?
I've been doing this bit. We're on OJ, so this actually might be this is a very problematic bit, and it never works. And like part of my character requires me to be likable, and it's the least likable thing I've ever written.
Right.
But I've been doing this bit about how that if black people were sort of in charge of the way that history is written,
right,
that Nicole Brown Simpson would be remembered as like a great civil rights leader. That like ultimately she was a martyr for black justice in the early 90s. That like, sure, OJ did it, but like she sacrificed herself for the goodness of our community, where like it's this woman who, despite dying, ultimately helped black people find a freedom in America that didn't exist before. So she's like she's a martyr.
That goes into the same category of arguing that without slavery we wouldn't have rock and roll.
Right.
Which is true. But it's a difficult thing to convey.
No, it's not great. And then I close it out. This is where it gets the grossest. I close it out where I go, we would remember her in all of our history books with all of her famous quotes like, stop stabbing me, OJ. Cut it out. That's not in my neck, OJ. That's my weak spot.
I am going to give you a 2-day in-school suspension for that bit.
I love it.
I picked the school.
Audiences do not.
Yeah. Is there like one of those tabloid TV real life things that you were ever fascinated by, like the Menendez brothers, Nancy Kerrigan? Or...
I don't know that I ever. I think OJ was such a big thing when I was a kid, so that was like the thing that consumed a lot of my, like, at least my memory of my childhood.
Yeah.
I think that there were other things probably that were like big deals to me, but didn't stick with you. It didn't stick with, like, the Nancy Kerrigan thing would be interesting. I don't even know enough about the Menendez brothers. I just know they were like two handsome dudes that killed their family and like weren't great.
Yeah, they are. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Read up, you'll enjoy it.
Yeah. That's the beauty. I was like legit a kid in 1995, 96.
Yeah, because you're like 5 years younger than me, I think.
I was born in 87.
Oh, you're 7 years younger.
Yeah, so
Jeez.
like, at that time, what was I? I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
So, I didn't give a fuck about the Menendez brothers. I'm the oldest of 5.
You're the oldest of 5, yeah.
Yeah. One of whom is 6 years old. So I'm very old. I'm much older than
you're
else.
ancient.
Yes.
Yeah. Were you setting what you would watch on TV? Like it was, since you're the oldest, you're the one who picks what you're watching?
No, because until I was 10, I was an only child.
Oh.
I'm like much older than all of them.
Yeah.
So like I grew up like a lonely only child who got whatever he wanted kind of thing, and then everybody else showed up.
No wonder you love Family Matters.
Yeah, exactly.
You should have hated Urkel. He was like your younger siblings.
I just desperately wanted Judy.
You're Harry.
I wanted Judy so bad.
Well, we all did.
And then she got she died. Poor Judy.
But she made adult films later.
Mm-hmm. And then went on that
Celebrity Rehab
thing.
Yeah.
She was addicted to weed, which I didn't know that was a thing, but she was.
I think she probably just had some problems unrelated to weed.
Yeah, no, she talked about that on the show.
Yeah.
I watched that show, at least that season.
I did watch a number of those seasons.
Yeah.
After a while, I just couldn't anymore.
She
real car crashy.
I think she just was having a hard time as like this person whose career took such a stark turn.
Yeah, I think
at an early age, like she was a kid.
Yeah, getting fired is traumatizing for adults.
Right.
I couldn't imagine if it was as a kid. And your job is what you look like and how you are, not how you do your job.
And they replaced you with a cuter kid.
Yeah.
They were like, "No, we don't want you, but we'll take like some little boy who's like a little cuter, and we'll pretend like he's just a cousin and the sister will just disappear in the show.
We won't mention you again.
No,
we'll write you out of history.
Yeah. And not even write you out well. They didn't even like bring her. They were just like, "No, Judy doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, they didn't kill her off. She just
No.
never existed.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
It's so mean.
That would be like if you left a job and then someone called later to get a reference and they were like, what was he like when you worked there? Don't know who he is. Never worked here.
Langston Kerman hasn't been here for 48
Never worked
years.
here. There's an actor named Lance Kerwin.
Okay.
Have I told you about this before?
No.
So anytime I've had to intro you or whatever at a show, my brain is going, don't say Lance Kerwin. Don't say Lance Kerwin. Which is not that similar.
They're
but
not
it's-
that dissimilar.
It's pretty close.
Yeah, it's as close as you're gonna get to my name.
Yeah, he
I
was
got
in
an
a-
argument with my girlfriend the other day that I think I'm the only one with my name in the world.
Okay.
And she doesn't believe that because she's like, there's billions of people in the world. That's not possible. And it's like, yeah, but prove me wrong.
Are you named after Langston Hughes?
I am named after Langston
yeah.
Hughes.
So you kind of had to be language.
You got it. You get it.
Is your mother like a big academic? Like she a big reader?
Yeah,
or-
she's big, and she used to love poetry a lot, and
Yeah.
big reader, big advocate for
So you picked that up from her?
literature. Yeah.
Was she like a 1 hour TV a day or like anti-TV? Those two
My
things
dad
usually
was.
go hand in hand. Okay.
My mom wasn't. My mom is sort of more of the loose energy as far as my parents go, but
Your dad was kind of like radical, right? If I'm remembering.
my dad's a socialist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like surfing.
No.
Like he's like
a gnarly
real,
bro.
Yeah.
He's
Like a take to the streets dude.
he is a take to the streets kind of dude, but as far as his parenting, he's very like sort of TV is not necessary and let's focus on reading and writing and getting better at stuff.
Think for yourself. Don't don't look at these tools of corporate
yes,
consumerism.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I used to have to sneak and watch television, so I would like be like watching TV and then hear his keys and I'd like shut it off and like try to cool it down and then
He'd
run
go
and-
feel the screen.
Yeah.
You were watching.
You
this.
were watching. It's still sparkly.
Did you have cable?
We did eventually. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always weird. I always everyone I know whose parents had like a strict no TV thing, they still had cable, so you know they were watching it. The parents.
Well, my dad got rid of it eventually because of the not wanting me to watch TV.
Oh, really?
So we started off with cable. I also think he just didn't want to pay the bill anymore. But like cable got crazy expensive around, the late 90s, early 2000s or whatever. But yeah, like I'd come home and watch Dragon Ball Z until he got home and then pretend like I'd been doing homework.
We when I worked at the Cartoon Network in England, we had to cut tons of stuff out of Dragon Ball Z episodes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All the sex and violence?
Yeah, we get like these uncut ones from Japan and they'd have to cut out tons of stuff.
Yeah.
Was there anything you ever watched with your dad?
He's the first person that introduced me to stand-up.
Okay.
So my dad, and he's not very strict in terms of like language or like content. So like he was the first dude that showed me Pryor.
Yeah.
Like Live on the Sunset Strip
that
was
special,
us sitting at home and him like dying laughing and me
When
being
you're
like
on
I
fire.
don't get it, but this is kind of cool.
People get out of your way. Yeah.
It was my dad's always kind of liked comedies and sort of provocative things, so that kind of stuff we watched, and we would watch a lot of movies together. But yeah, it just wouldn't be during the weekdays. It was more like weekends.
It was an event. It was like drinking a soda.
Yes. It was that nice RC you got
Exactly
saved
like drinking
in
a soda. The only bad thing about RC is it sounds like RC.
RC.
Which is what they say in England if someone's being like pissy.
Oh, okay. Like an ass.
Assy.
Yeah.
Being RC.
Yeah, I got
Because
you.
they'll say arsehole. Or the Irish. So what are some of the things you wrote down there that you watched in this particular issue? There's some odd things this week because January is always mid-season replacement time.
Sure.
And so there's some strange shows that did not last very long.
Well, for one of my favorite shows growing up was the Wayans Brothers.
Right.
I love that show, and I don't think it gets a lot of credit, and it's the last good thing that the Wayans probably have done.
Okay.
As a
Or maybe the
collective.
first good thing they did.
Oh, no. I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker was a great film.
I chalked that up to Keenan exclusively.
Okay, he can have it, but Damon was in there. There were a few appearances.
The rest of
Kim
them
was
were
in it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Nobody likes Sean.
No, Sean's the worst.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even up for grabs
Yeah.
of the brothers and Kim, he is by far the least, useful.
Remember when he was the DJ on A Living Color and went by SW1?
Yeah. Hell
He's
yeah.
like, you can't fool me. That's a Wayans.
Yeah, you a Wayans. It's funny because he's like very clearly the most handsome of them.
Yeah.
And like just
That's why he has no sense of humor.
Yeah, just contributes the least.
Yeah. I Gonna Get You Sucker was funny,
I loved it.
but I can't. I've tried to rewatch it. It just isn't.
Oh.
And I love the Blaxploitation stuff, and I got all the references, and I love seeing like Jim Brown in it.
Yeah.
But it just, Hollywood Shuffle is another movie that came out the same year.
Yeah.
Robert Townsend, and that movie's so much smarter and better and funnier that's the movie that I revisit more often.
Oh, I just love it. I mean, I still think about so many fun scenes from that movie.
Goldfish.
Of like that, them running with the goldfish shoes, and Damon Wayans and keeps getting knocked down those stairs every time he tries to fight. And then Chris Rock, I just want one rib.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's so funny. And then the when he gets shot in the toe and it swells up, oh, I laugh.
Had you seen any of the movies that was parodying though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like Superfly and
Dolomite.
Dolomite. I've
Venture
seen
Disco
you know
Godfather.
very much that I've seen those.
But had you seen them before you saw I'm Gonna Get You Sucker?
Yeah, I used to. This is gross. I used to watch like the old Pam Grier because she had her titties out, and I, as a kid, it was like I get to see
she's
some
one of the
titties.
most beautiful women ever.
Yeah, I agree. And I
oof.
used to just watch those tapes that my mom had and rewind and
Coffee.
watch. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So your mom was a big fan of Pam Grier.
Yeah, she just had like old Blaxploitation films.
Yeah.
Like the old cassettes and stuff.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I would watch them.
Get
at
Christine
home.
Love. And
Yeah. So I knew what it was.
Yeah.
But
But I
I
feel like a
wasn't
lot of-
like super versed in everything.
But even at all, like a lot of kids wouldn't know any of that stuff.
Right. Yeah, my mom's like a very old school lady. So like, there weren't a lot of old references that I wasn't at least aware of.
Right.
Even if I wasn't actively like,
Seeking it out.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're probably the last generation.
Yeah.
But that was able to absorb, decades and decades of popular culture through their
Right.
parents or through references in current culture. Because now nothing references
Yeah.
older stuff
Right.
at all. It just
Or it's
doesn't-
just a remake of it and
from 5 years ago.
yeah, but you don't even want the other thing anymore.
Yeah.
It's sort of a weird thing of like you're not remaking with the intention or rebuilding on or building on top of what used to exist. You're just pretending as if Spider-Man
Never happened.
Tobey Maguire version ever happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is super weird.
Yeah.
The Wayans Brothers, I couldn't get into. This is the first year of WB.
Yes. I love the WB.
That they were on.
Yeah.
And the WB, I enjoyed the sort of weird, they had a lot of weird like horror shows, but I never really liked their comedies.
Yeah.
And I did watch more of the UPN comedies.
Okay. Which
at the
were
time.
ultimately like similar, I think.
Homeboys
or-
in Outer Space.
God damn it.
They all went for an urban audience because they crunched numbers, and that's who was watching
They were
Fox.
like, this will be the black shows.
Yeah,
that
because
we-
they were like the two biggest shows on Fox are Martin and In Living Color.
Yep.
So we'll
What
just
if we make a
copy that.
network of
Yeah.
just black shit?
Yeah, we'll do a
That's-
FUBU network.
That's not as good.
No, it really isn't. It's like that doesn't.
But UPN had some fun shows for a while, and then it. I mean, it's like anything that starts to figure itself out too well, and then you just are catering to an audience without making quality. You're just like,
You crank
okay,
out copies of copies.
Yeah,
and it gets-
exactly.
there's no vision to it,
Right.
Because like I love Living Single on Fox.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that show wasn't. When I think about it, and this may be totally off base, but when I think about it, the sort of black shows on Fox
Right.
that did really well partly did that because they appealed to not just the black audience, and they were just shows like Rock. It didn't matter that was a black show.
No,
It
Rock was
just-
great.
It was just a great classic, like Norman Lear style blue collar sitcom.
Yeah,
And Living Single was just a great, funny show that Friends ripped off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the fact there was a black show really almost didn't factor in. Martin definitely did.
I don't even know that. I mean, he was very black and like he sort of
Yeah.
like made a point of being that, and that's dope in my opinion. But it also wasn't like a caveat. You know what I mean?
True.
Like it didn't require that as like a note to
Right.
watch. Whereas I think that there became shows that came later that where it was like black such and such, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well now you're forcing my hand,
Yeah.
instead of just letting me enjoy
Yeah.
the thing.
It's not all Soul Plane.
No. Yeah. Some of it is just Living Single is a fucking great
Show's
show.
great.
It's still
really
good.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really funny show. Like
Yeah.
a classic example of just like a timeless, just character sitcom.
Right.
I think Martin, I felt like there was a lot more references to like specific Black popular culture stuff, or like
Yeah, maybe.
There was stuff that I definitely didn't get on it sometimes
Okay.
because I was like, I think I had to be a different person to
Yeah,
understand
yeah.
this.
Yeah,
But I
I
didn't
don't-
get that with the other shows.
Right. I've never felt that way, but I've been Black my whole life.
You've been
so
Black at least for 10 years. Yeah. Do you remember the show True Colors on Fox?
I don't remember True Colors.
It was basically the Brady Bunch, but with an interracial couple.
Okay.
And it was very
What a bold
controversial.
move.
Yeah, yeah. Sadly wasn't that good of a show.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. That was a blatant, like, we're going to do a show about race.
Okay.
And it just didn't. That was kind of when I noticed. I was like, hey, Fox, maybe just make shows. When you're trying to make it about a thing, it's not great.
Do you remember there used to be a show, this is very off base, but there was a show at one point where they decided to have families dress in black and white face as like a social experiment. I think it was on like FX or something like that.
No.
But they did this social experiment. I think it was like called Black and White or something like
Okay,
that.
like a reality show?
Yeah, where they almost a documentary more than a reality show, but like they essentially had a white family wear blackface for a month.
But like convincing blackface, not like minstrel blackface.
Intentionally convincing,
Yeah.
but not at all. The product was not convincing.
Right.
Like,
They tried to make it look like they were actually black, not
Yes.
just like a mammy.
Yeah. But it ended up looking like...
Yeah, because it always does.
Yeah, because it doesn't work. But they had a family dress in blackface and then go that way. And then they had a family dressed in whiteface and go the other way. And the whole intention was to get these people to begin to experience what the other group was experiencing.
It was like wife swap, but race swap.
Exactly. And it was a train wreck.
I bet.
And it was, I can never remember the exact name of it, but it might have been Black White, but my God, was that something to see.
That's horrible. They must have seen that like Eddie Murphy SNL short.
Yeah.
And just been like, let's do this.
What if
as
we
a
do it
show.
for real?
There's a really good, and you know, it might seem kind of trite now, but there was a really good Christmas episode of Bewitched, the last season,
Where they took on blackface.
sort of. So the premise was that the Tabitha, the daughter,
Yeah.
her best friend's black,
Dope.
and someone said, like, some asshole says something to them, and they're little girls, and they're like, this is my sister, you know, and so it's like, you can't be sisters, you're different colors. So Tabitha, who's a witch, casts a spell where they both become polka dotted.
Shit.
So like one of them has black, which is kind of a silly kids thing. And it's an interesting episode. And the episode was actually written by kids at Elizabeth Montgomery's kids' school.
Wow.
They think they were freshmen in high school. Wrote this episode, and it was called Sisters at Heart. And this is 1970, and there were a lot of networks that wouldn't air it.
What a different time.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Hollywood, where they're still being kind of progressive, but they also are letting children write the
Yeah,
scripts.
we'll let kids do it because no one can get mad at kids.
Right. And then we also aren't going to lose any viewers.
Yeah. The UK on the BBC up until I think it might be even early 80s, they had a show called The Black and White Minstrel Show. That was a minstrel show.
Wow.
A white dudes in blackface minstrel
Jesus.
show. Which, you know, I get that was like an old-timey vaudeville thing, but also seems a little bit weird.
Oh, it's not weird. It's fucked up.
It's a little bit weird.
It's not just a little, it's fucked
How
up.
did that continue to be on TV? Like, there were people who were like, oh, come on. It's
Come
like,
on. Classic television.
Yeah, I'm like, you know, even I think maybe even mid-60s it would have been like guys, maybe we should stop now, this 1930s.
It's too much, man.
But I cannot believe how late that went on.
Yeah.
Granted, they didn't get black people till the 70s there, so
Nice.
which I think is true. What else you got on there?
For Monday, Murder, She Wrote.
So you used to watch Murder, She Wrote.
I did used to watch Murder, She Wrote. I had a big crush on Angela Lansbury.
She was a very pretty woman.
She was a beautiful woman, and
Still is.
I think it was more of an emotional crush. She just was so like classy and like together, and seemed like the kind of lady that could just like take charge and really show you stuff. And
Yeah.
I liked her.
She's a smart lady too. She's figuring out murders.
Yeah. It was just a fun show to watch. It was really good.
I am a lover of made-for-TV movies, and that same night, there's a fantastic, awful car crash of a made-for-TV movie starring Tori Spelling.
Oh,
And it's called Deadly Pursuits. It's a choice between who she owes and who she loves. Either way, it's the kiss of death.
Wow.
So I'm all on board for that one.
Hell yeah.
And then the only other real thing to watch that night was a special called Survivors of the Holocaust, which does not sound fun.
No, that doesn't sound fun, but important.
And very important. What else you got on there?
This was one of my favorites. I skipped it, but Saturday, Mad TV.
Yeah.
Was like, I think, a very underappreciated sketch show, especially in the early mid to late 90s rather, is when it was like sort of at its best.
When it first started, really.
Yeah. And then it they added weirder cast members and started to really try to play up to the gimmicks of like the characters that everybody loved and their catchphrases. But
yeah, they were definitely trying to do catchphrases. And
yeah, when it became like the Miss Swan show, it was like,
Yeah.
okay, this isn't as funny anymore, but it used to be really good.
It was a show that I was such a diehard SNL, like Kids in the Hall guy.
Yeah.
That when I was always up for new sketch shows. And when I
Right.
started watching, I was like, no.
Right.
Like, it just wasn't for me.
I
don't
always
know why.
hear that of
Yeah.
like people sort of made their choice as far as like which ones they were going to appreciate. But
Yeah.
Mad TV's where I started. So like SNL didn't mean shit to me.
You weren't comparing it to anything.
I was like, nah.
Yeah.
Phil Lamar is the best.
Yeah, Phil Lamar is really good.
He's fucking
Oh,
great.
man,
He's in
fun.
everything.
Yeah.
And secretly.
Yeah. Well, he's my favorite Green Lantern. He's Jon Stewart, the Green
Yeah, he's
Lantern of
John,
Justice
that's
League
right.
Unlimited.
He is my favorite Green.
he's the
I didn't
best Green Lantern.
even think about it until just now, but he
Yeah.
is the best Green Lantern.
Yeah, he's perfect.
Yeah, no, he's fucking awesome, and that was Ari Spears at his best.
Yeah.
That was Orlando Jones at his best.
Yeah.
It was like, Will Sasso,
Terry Sweeney was ready for the show then.
Nicole Sullivan.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were so many funny people.
I need to
Alex Bornstein.
when I've revisited sketches from it now,
Yeah.
I've enjoyed them. But at the time, I just was like, ugh.
No, you were you were like principled and like, no, this isn't
Well,
SNL.
I just didn't think it was funny.
Yeah.
Like it just seemed easy or something. I don't know what it was.
It was, probably.
You know what it reminded me of? All That.
Yes.
The Nickelodeon sketch show.
But that was literally my transition.
Which I think I was too old for.
Right.
Like, I think if you were 12,
Yeah.
it would have been amazing. But
Like,
I was
no, the most political I had gotten was a bunch of kids doing Ross Perot impressions.
Yeah, yeah.
So this was a nice transition into like adult comedy that wasn't so far gone as like, trying to make fun of like Hillary being the mastermind behind or President Clinton. You know what I mean?
Lyndon Clinton.
Yeah. It's like, this is easy reading, essentially.
Yeah, it was like a primer for that
Yes.
stuff. But I was like 16, so I was like, more into
you were above it.
I was just better. Just better than it.
Not me.
You loser 12-year-old. I think I'm 7 years. So I would have been 19. I was in college when you were 12.
Yeah.
Oh, you just bummed me out. What else you got in there?
This is a fun one. Three Ninjas Kickback.
The sequel.
The sequel to Three Ninjas. That's right.
Ernie Reyes Jr. is in Three Ninjas, who is the only one who is an actual martial artist.
Yeah.
Loved Ernie Reyes Jr.
Those kids were talented though.
Yeah.
They looked pretty cool.
They had a good choreographer.
Great.
Yeah. Again, this I was above because I spent years watching like Hong Kong action movies.
Right. Yeah.
So
You used to tell me about all the like you're not even a fan of like Jackie Chan.
I like Jackie Chan, but he's not my favorite. Like Yoon Bu is better, or even like Sammo Hung, or who was on Martial Law at this time.
Right.
But yeah, I love that stuff. And so like when the new one would come out, I could be like, eh. And Rob Schneider.
Oh no, I'm not a fan of Rob Schneider, and fuck him for all of his political views.
Yeah.
But this movie was so funny.
I want to see. I would have preferred just an Ernie Reyes Jr. movie.
Yeah.
Because he was in Red Sonja, and he was one of the Ninja Turtles. He did all the fight scenes in those. And he had a great show called Sidekicks when he was a kid that was on for a couple of years. But yeah, Ernie Reyes Sr., also very good martial artist.
Okay.
But and again, I was probably too old for Three Ninjas Kickback.
Oh no, it was right in my Three Ninjas was amazing, and then there were Surf Ninjas too, and I used to love that movie. That was Tone Loc.
Oh yes,
he was in there. And
Tone Loc. What was the animated movie where he was a bear?
Oh,
it was like a teddy bear. Remember?
I know what you're talking about. I can't remember what it was called. They did like a Christmas special too.
Yeah, and he was a voice in Bebe's Kids.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
I loved Bebe's
He was the
Kids.
little baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Tone Loc was fucking great.
Yeah.
Wild Thing.
Everyone loved Tone Loc.
Yeah.
Wild Thing, probably the best date rape song. No, that's Funky Cold Medina.
I was about to say, there's no date rape
Yeah.
in Wild Thing.
The third verse. No, it's Funky Cold Medina I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Wild Thing is lyrically a little strange.
I don't know that I know the...
As an adult, if you sit down and listen to the things he's saying in Wild Thing.
I gotta go back and revisit.
Yeah.
I just know the rhythm of the lyrics, but I don't think I know
There's
them
a thing
off
where
the top
like
of my head.
the mom comes in and she's like, when I was a kid, I was just like you. I got paid
Oh,
to
yeah.
do the wild thing. And I'm like, so this woman's mother walks in on them doing it and then tells them how she used to be a prostitute? This is weird. Like, this is a little strange.
Listen, man, the streets are wild.
They're wild. They're wild things.
They're a wild thing.
My dad loved Tone Loc.
Good.
That was strange.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. He listened to that record nonstop.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of nice.
It's the only thing you like about my dad. I'm speaking for you now. What else you got on there?
Ellen.
So you watched Ellen.
Yeah, the original Ellen.
Yeah.
Back when she wasn't a lesbian and
Yeah.
then became a lesbian.
It was called Friends Like These when it first started.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I remember it, and I do remember that was like a transformative moment of television where she
yeah.
said I'm gay over that airplane
the
announcement
loudspeaker.
thing.
Yep.
Loudspeaker. And it blew my mind, but it also was like a really cool thing. I remember just feeling excited.
I had Tracy Newman on the show, and she wrote that episode
Oh, shit.
and won an Emmy for it. And it was really interesting to hear that side of it.
Yeah.
Because that became such a huge deal. Oprah is in that episode playing
Mm-hmm.
her therapist, and that was such a huge transformative pop culture moment.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like television is capable of those kinds of things anymore.
No, I don't think the shock is the same. And I think, even in the way that I experienced it, granted I was a kid, like I didn't have a reference beyond that point, but I do remember thinking like, oh, she's gay.
And I know her already. I've
Yeah.
been watching the show. Yeah.
But I didn't have any, I wasn't one of those kids that grew up with some weird homophobic bullshit,
Ew,
whatever. But it was like, oh, I just didn't know.
Yeah.
I had no idea you were gay because I'm 10.
And I don't think of that stuff.
And I don't think about it, but that's cool that she said it and everybody's cheering. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And I think it was the way they introduced it too. It was, 4 seasons in and you're like,
Yeah.
we already know this person as who they are.
And she's been struggling dating
Yeah,
men
yeah,
and it
so-
hasn't worked. And she's just like, I'm gay.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
then
not
didn't it get canceled the next
it
year?
did. But it also was at that point in the show when it's not interesting anymore.
Yeah.
But that show had an amazing supporting cast. Bruce Campbell was in it, Dave Higgins, and just really
I really
funny
liked that
cast.
show. It was fun.
Yeah, has one of my favorite Thanksgiving episodes ever.
I've never seen that,
Where,
or I don't remember it.
Joe Flaherty is on it, and she goes to a homeless shelter to feed people, and he's a homeless guy, but she thinks he works there.
Yeah.
And she invites him over her house for Thanksgiving, and he doesn't know that she doesn't know that he's homeless. So there's a really funny scene where he says something about the homeless, and then Ellen goes, for the grace of God go I. And then he goes, yeah, because it's such a weird thing to do, because it's like, at least I'm not homeless like you. But it's a really funny
That's
episode.
funny.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah.
What else we got?
I have 2 more. Seinfeld.
Yes, which you love.
That was one of, we just talked about it, but goddamn it, was that a funny show.
Do you have a favorite Seinfeld?
There are things that come to mind. There are moments that, obviously, and there were the first thing that popped in my head when you ask, and I'm very big on all right, you asked, so this is where my brain goes. But the voicemail episode where George isn't home, that
believe
thing,
it or not,
yeah.
George isn't at home.
But it's like a controversial thing to say that's one of your favorites because it's in the later seasons.
That's a pretty funny one.
It's a great one, but it's later, all the pretentious Seinfeld watchers that are like, it's the later seasons.
The Chinese
they
restaurant.
weren't as good anymore.
Yeah.
Larry David wasn't around. And it's like, okay, fine, but it's funny shit.
Did you talk to LD when you were in the movie with him?
Very briefly.
I call him LD.
You call him LD. I remember that. Very briefly, but he's exactly what he seems like.
Yeah.
And not in a bad way. He's a very nice man in the sense that he was polite and kind and all that, but he doesn't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
He definitely doesn't want to be bothered by a dude who has 3 lines in his very important film. And
What was
so
that movie called again? It's
Clear
HBO.
History.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you meet Michael Keaton too? Or
No,
just-
I literally was on
You're the one
set
scene,
for
yeah.
that one scene
Yeah.
and then left. And he was very kind. He thanked us afterwards. And there was this one dude who was in the scene with me, this taller dude with like, he was like in a blazer and like, he took himself a lot more seriously.
Of course.
And was super obnoxious to Larry David in that he would not stop complimenting him and trying to touch him.
I want to get discovered.
Yeah, well, he was like, I gotta tell you, Larry, I gotta tell you, you're one of my favorites. You're the best. And the work that you do. And he's like touching him. And Larry's like, all right, cool, man.
Back
Thanks.
off.
But he's like uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it's noticeably uncomfortable. And so I'm watching this happen. And there's no way that I'm then going to insert myself. And by the way, Larry, I also like you. It's like, no, I'm gonna shut the fuck up.
I noticed you enjoy being annoyed and
yeah,
touched.
yeah. It's like, nah, I'm gonna shut the fuck. And this is how bad the dude annoyed him was that Larry gave away some of our lines to his friend who just happened to be like on set. He was like hanging out with this chick who like lived in the area, whatever.
So you got screwed over.
Yeah,
because of this guy.
because it was supposed to be like I spot him and then it becomes this big ruckus. And then Larry was like, can we get his friend was saying it wasn't personal to us necessarily.
Yes, it was.
But I think that dude bothered him enough where he was like,
It
I don't
tipped
give a fuck anymore.
Yeah.
But his friend was hanging out. He was like, you want to be in the movie? He was like, yeah, give her one or two lines. I don't. It
What are your
doesn't-
lines? Give it to her.
Let her say that.
Yeah.
So it was like this weird, but it was cool. He was very nice.
We need to hunt that guy down and make him pay for what he did.
He's probably dead.
Yeah, well, what do you know? It's a mystery. We have an alibi from that night. And then, would you say one more thing?
Yeah, one more thing.
Drum roll. What do you got?
Off you. Boy Meets World.
Okay. So you're a big TGIF guy.
TGIF, my God. I loved it. Everything. Step by step. Boy Meets World.
Everything?
Everything.
King? Teen Angel?
I don't remember.
Sabrina?
Oh, I do remember Sabrina.
Yeah.
And Teen Angel, I do remember.
Yeah.
God, Boy Meets World, I still love.
The first 2 seasons are great.
I love all of it.
Oh, but even when it becomes like a weird friendship
Yeah.
off where they get married.
Yes.
I can't.
Give me all of it.
I always liked when they went to, what was his friend's name that Rada Strong?
Sean.
When they went to Sean's house and he was such white trash, like poor.
Yeah, when he was living in
the
the trailer.
And all, yeah.
What's the father on that? He's always in Adam Sandler films.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know his
think
name
of
as
his
an
name.
actor, but
Yeah.
he is wonderful.
Oh, Blake Clark.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a stand-up.
He's amazing.
Yeah, he's in Shakes the Clown.
And
as
doesn't
well.
and doesn't get enough recognition for being just a good scumbaggy dude.
His stand-up was great too. I remember he had a bit that I always remembered.
Yeah.
And he was like, my brother's real dumb, and he was asking me what to get my kid for Christmas, and I was like, well, he likes music, and he's like, well, who's his favorite band? I said, U2, and my brother looked at me and went, us? Which is just like, this stuff was very similar to that.
Yeah, it's like a dumb joke, but that's fun.
Yeah, he's a guy that has claimed to have seen ghosts in the Comedy Store.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he has like a famous story of him getting like really freaked out, and he's like not a guy that normally gets freaked out by that stuff.
Okay.
He was like a Vietnam vet and everything.
Yeah, well, drugs and alcohol can do
They
that
will
sometimes.
do that. Have you ever seen a ghost?
No, never.
Don't believe in ghosts.
I believe in the possibility, but I think that more often than not, the people that actually believe are just wrong.
So if I were to say have a daytime talk show where I talked about things from the other side, you would be a good guest because you're right down the middle about ghosts. You're not a crazy person.
No, I don't know that I'm down the middle. I think I swing much more towards they don't exist.
Yeah.
But I'm not so confident that I'm going to tell some person that they're wrong.
Okay.
But I think that when you ask the people that are very confident about it, like, and dig into the story, there's always bullshit in it.
Like they were drunk.
Yeah, or
lying.
like it's just like I do a bit now, or I have a bit where I sort of make fun of the fact that like most of the people that believe in ghosts are just white women, and
Well,
it's
yeah.
like there's a reason that association is happening, and it's because you guys have that kind of confidence, like that's a freedom that, you have,
that you'll live on.
or just that your life has been comfortable enough that you have to be silly.
Yeah.
That you have to find some sillies.
I'm worried about real things. And you're
Yeah,
worried about
exactly. Yeah, it's a real, I think, situation that's probably happening more so than you actually being haunted
Well,
by
there's
spirits.
a lot of it too is like, I just woke up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, you're still asleep.
Yeah,
But
you're
there's-
just having a freaky moment.
One of the best studies I ever read was about one thing that human beings have that other animals don't is this sort of sense of self part of their brain that allows them to have like an inner dialogue,
Right.
and it lets you know that there's like a you and then your physical you.
Yeah.
And they discovered that when that malfunctions, that's when people think they're hearing voices, or they see a ghost, or like Jesus is with them, because they have a
Right.
sense that somebody's there, but they don't know that it's them.
Right.
So it's like
you,
this,
it's you being projected onto either a voice or a person or
yeah,
whatever it is.
it's like basically it would be like every time you think something, if you didn't know that it was you thinking it, you thought you were hearing some other being,
which makes perfect sense.
Which makes perfect sense, and it's like just like your wire,
Yeah,
someone
yeah.
cut a wire basically,
Right.
And that can happen. Like you can go on the fritz, like you have a short circuit, and it just.
But I also know that there's reasons that certain things manifest in a person just out of like necessity. Like sometimes you're seeing a spirit because you just miss a person. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you,
And then
it's
you
a,
get
a
into your dream
wanting,
thing. Yeah.
or the dreaming, or whatever it is. And so it's like I'm not so confident as to tell somebody that an actual spiritual moment.
You don't want to
isn't
belittle
happening.
their experience.
Yeah,
basically.
because it might be spiritual. It might be an actual ghost of sorts.
Yeah.
I just don't know that it's like literally old man Shepherd who used to live here.
He's
and
haunting
then-
the place.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
not the same thing. you know?
Well, that's great, because if you want to be in my gang, I was gonna beat you up and put you in a garbage bin, but all you have to do is sleep overnight in the old man Shepherd's mansion, and if you survive,
God damn it,
you're in the group.
I don't know that I can do this. I really want to be in this gang. though.
Well, that's the thing. So the Boy Meets World that night is Corey forsakes a date with Topanga for a boys' night out at another school's party.
Hell yeah.
But when he arrives, he's mistaken for his studly friend Sean.
Sean
an
Hunter,
error
baby.
he fails to correct.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on here.
Yeah. I remember that episode.
Have you ever been mistaken for someone else and you went with it?
No, but I look a lot, and it's taken me a long time to admit this in a way that I'm admitting it now, at least. I look a lot like Derrick Rose, who's an NBA player.
Okay.
I know you're not a sports guy.
Not
You're
familiar.
like,
I know Spud Webb.
who the fuck is Derrick Rose? But he's an NBA player.
Yeah.
He used to be like very Bulls guy, and now he's
Okay.
on the Knicks.
Okay.
So he's been traveling with me from Chicago to New York.
I know Grandmama.
Yeah. Larry Johnson.
Larry Johnson. I know.
Yeah, he was a great actor. But I look a lot like him, especially when I don't have my beard, and I've always wanted to take.
You're not talking about your
advantage of
girlfriend.
that. No, when I'm
Actual
not
facial hair.
masking my homosexuality.
Yeah.
No,
He's really into Ellen, everybody.
yeah, no, it's we look a lot alike, and I always wanted to like go to a club and be like, yeah, it's me, Derrick Rose.
So you've never been actually mistaken for him, but you think you could pull it off.
I've been like had multiple people stop me and being like, yo man, you look a lot like Derrick,
Right.
like yo, so I thought you was Derrick Rose, and it's like,
Right.
all right man, thank you.
But you never
I
had
don't
anyone
know.
be like, I know you can't say it's you.
Yeah,
but
nah,
I
it's
know."
never been
Yeah.
like, oh shit, that's you give me your
Yeah.
autograph type shit. No.
Well, I'm going to spread that rumor.
Please do.
Do you remember in high school when you would like go to another school's campus or like another town's party and
Yeah.
how weird it would be?
It's really scary.
Which, as an adult, is the funniest thing ever.
Yeah.
But,
Kids are territorial though.
oh yeah.
It's like, why is that dude that no one knows at this party? And then you get older and it's like, oh, none of us
Who
know each
cares?
other.
Yeah, it was like the place we live now in Stoneham is one town over from where I grew up, which
Mm-hmm.
I never thought I would live. But when I think about it now, I'm like, there was probably people I had common interest would have liked that went to Stoneham High School a mile away, but it would never occur to you.
Right.
You're like, nope, this is
Yep,
everybody.
this is everyone I know.
can't- yeah.
And we will never let another friend in.
Nope. And you had like border locations where rumbles would happen.
Yeah.
There's a place called Mother's Pizza. And it was like, this is Melrose turf, man.
Oh
This
no,
is
we didn't
Stoneham
have
turf.
that necessarily.
Yeah.
We had middle schools that my town was broken up into two separate middle schools, and so
A black one and a white one.
Yeah, as it should be. But we had Julian and Emerson, and we would some people lived closer to Julian, but
Right.
they went to Emerson, and so when you were walking, there would be like Julian kids that like tried to jump you or like to fuck with you, but it wasn't like real like. You weren't in real danger. You were in like, all right, I'm gonna get punched in the face and kicked
Yeah.
in the stomach type
Teenager
danger. Yeah,
danger.
teenager danger.
Yeah. which is something we should write.
Suburban teenager.
Suburban
danger.
teenager
Yeah,
danger.
it wasn't
Yeah.
like the bad boys of,
They're not going to rob you and stab you.
No.
It was just like, oh, dude, I fucking punched that kid.
Yeah,
But they weren't
exactly.
from Boston. Or
Yeah,
Chicago,
or they
so.
pushed you down and stole your lunch. And
Yeah.
it's like, all right,
You took my folder.
you're fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Go home.
Still terrifying.
Nah, it's scary, especially when you're a kid. Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, some people might. They just wouldn't say it out loud.
Oh, yeah, they jerked off to it later. They liked it a
I
lot.
loved when I got jumped.
Oh, those fucking boys.
I will
touched
say
me.
this, and I've said it before on the show, anyone over the age of 21 who claims to have been jumped is lying to cover up something, because no guy has been jumped past that age, and they are lying.
Oh, no, I've seen people get jumped.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Yes. Absolutely.
You've seen it.
Yeah. At
In-
parties and shit where
Someone,
like
just randomly someone gets jumped.
yeah, I saw this. It was
What parties are you going to? Are you going to teenage parties?
no, I saw it in college where this kid, he wasn't a kid, he was an adult man, but
Under
this
21?
dude, no, he was older. But it was like, it might have been some gang shit. It was certainly like some territorial shit where this dude was at a party. He got into it with this other dude, and then his friends all got involved, but him and the guy are like kind of like fighting at first, and then this other guy comes around and just like punches the shit out of him.
See, but that's people jumping into a fight that's already happening. I'm talking about like, I was walking down the street and these dudes jumped me.
Oh, like just out of like joy?
Yeah.
That happens in Chicago in some parts of the city, and like I haven't seen it with my eyes, but I know of some
Seen it with your heart.
situations. Yeah, with my heart. I've smelled it. But no, I agree. It's far less common than people want it to be.
Okay.
Yeah, I won't agree that it's never happened, but I don't think it's as common as people pretend it is.
Here's my anyone I've ever heard be like, oh, my boyfriend was late, he said he got jumped.
Yeah.
It's usually that scenario, and I'm like, no, he didn't.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got beat up by one dude.
Or he was drunk and fell down.
Yeah.
Or he just was making this up because he was doing
Right.
something else.
Yeah. No, I get that. Where it's like jumped is a go-to way of explaining away the embarrassment of whatever your other.
You lost your
problem
phone in
was.
the toilet.
Yeah, exactly.
I got jumped.
I got jumped. Somebody hit me.
Oh, they took my phone.
It's just wet in your pocket,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. You just pretend
Yeah.
you got jumped. Well, Langston, it was great to see you.
Thank you. Thank
we'll
you
do
for
it
having
again
me.
in 4 more years after you win an Oscar, and we're gonna put it in the calendar and we're gonna
Hell
make it
yeah.
happen. Thanks.
Thanks, dude.
Oh, baby, I see you in my teeny said, yeah, baby, I see you in my teeny said, I cut your head off and put it in my teeny.
There you go. There's Langston, not Lance Kerwin. That would be a totally different episode, although not outside the realms of possibility. So, hey, Lance, if you're listening and you want to do the show, let me know. We could go up to Salem's Lot and record it just for the hell of it. As I said, I will put links to all Langston's social media stuff on tvguidancecounselor.com. I didn't actually say that, but I usually say that, and I just said it now when I was saying that I said it before. So technically I did say it. So there you go. Don't email me on technicalities. This is not a court of law. Anyway, we have new episodes each and every Wednesday, so please be here then for next week's episode. It's a very good one. I think you'll like it. And we'll see you again next time on TV Guidance Counselor.
And I really hope he introduces me to Charlie Murphy.
Yep.